In today's video, I'm going to share with you my history of drugs and alcohol because it's had a tremendous impact on my life. It's something that I struggle with for many years. And because I've been doing this 10 approach challenge every day, this is day 24, it's really resonating with me, like why it's so important that I continue to do this. So hopefully some of you guys can resonate with this. Maybe it'll help you out in your journey on just becoming a better man after divorce, after a breakup, just improving your life in general. Maybe you do struggle with this as well. I've never shared any of this with anybody. I'm kind of ashamed of it. I feel like by expressing myself, by telling people this, it makes me, I don't know, I guess I always considered myself to be a good person. Like I was always wanting to do the best for others. But when I think of the drugs that I've done, there's this stigma that maybe I'm less than or I should feel shame. But this is what happened. This is my life. I've learned from it. Hopefully this will be some stuff that you could learn from. Maybe it'll show you where I was and where I am now. But we'll go from there. So to start, obviously, I was very shy and quiet as a kid. This was something that I struggled with. I was never bullied or like unpopular. I think I was just kind of forgotten, but I always wanted to fit in. I always wanted to be popular. I always wanted to be liked. I always wanted to be liked by girls. Even as early as third grade, I remember girls liked my friend, and I was always jealous of him and wondering what he had that I didn't. And I took this all the way through middle school. I took this all the way through high school. And then, in high school, I'm starting to hang out with friends that are experimenting with drugs and alcohol. And I always considered myself to be a pretty good, innocent kid. It never really occurred to me to start drinking, to start smoking. But one day my friend came over. He was my best friend, and he had been hanging out with some of the popular kids, and he had been talking about how they were smoking weed and they were drinking. And so one night he came over, and I remember I said to him, what'd be cool is if we started to smoke weed. And he knew I'd never smoked it before, but I thought this was how I was going to fit in. And he even said, you don't smoke weed. Why would you say that? And I was just like, oh no, but it'd be so cool. And so this was the moment where I started to think this was how I was going to make friends. This is how I'm going to fit in. If I start smoking weed, if I start drinking, that's when people will start liking me. That's how I'll get into this cool group. So this started, I think I was probably 15 and a half, maybe 16. Don't remember exactly. But I started to work at a fast food restaurant. I guess I won't say their name. But the people there were a little bit older than me. I think I was probably the youngest. I don't think you can start working until you're 15 and a half. So they're probably 17, 18, and they're all smoking weed. And so I thought, okay, yeah, they offered to sell me weed. So it's like, okay, yeah, perfect. This is how I'm going to start to make friends. I was very quiet when I started this job. And by agreeing to buy some weed, I thought, okay, yeah, these people are going to like me. I'll have some new friends. Maybe this will lead into a girlfriend. Maybe this will lead into something cool. So I basically started smoking weed at 16. I was smoking pretty much every day. I was not taking my classes very seriously in high school. I would do just the bare minimum to get by. I knew exactly what I had to do to pass these classes, so I would skip when I wanted. I would sleep through class. I wouldn't study. Was really doing nothing in my life. This also led to drinking as well. I realized very quickly when I would drink, I was not worried so much about what people thought of me. So I would definitely go to house parties and basically house parties. My friend would have get-togethers all the time. His parents didn't really care. I don't think they were very much around, so it was easy to go there. Maybe you guys have had this when you were growing up. Like you have that friend whose parents don't even give a shit, so you just go there and get fucked up. So I always thought because I was so good at drinking and doing drugs that I would be cool. Like I could go and party all night. I wouldn't throw up. I wasn't one of those guys that was falling off or falling down and starting shit. So I actually thought I was really cool and this was going to make me popular. So I did this throughout high school because I wanted to fit in so much. I remember, bear with me, I'm kind of like going off the top of my head with all this stuff, just trying to think of all the shit I did for validation. I remember one instance in particular, my friend started selling ecstasy. So thought it would be fun to do some ecstasy. But because we were with two cute girls and I never felt like they would like me unless I started doing drugs, I decided to take it overboard. And rather than just take like 1 or 2 hits, I decided to take 5 hits of ecstasy because I thought, yeah, they'll see how cool I am when they can see that I'll get fucked up and it won't affect me. So I was willing to always do something for somebody else. I would hurt myself to fit in, to just feel, I guess, validation, to feel love. The most important thing to me was always to be attractive to women. I never felt that growing up. I would always think that unless you were attracted to women, you're worthless. So I felt this all the way through high school because I didn't have women in my life, I guess. I assume that's what it is. So I would do, ecstasy. I would do cocaine. I would smoke fucking meth out of like tinfoil with my friends because I thought that was what was cool. I thought that's how you're going to fit in. I thought those were the only friends I was ever going to have. I thought that's what was going to get me women into my life. I was never popular before doing this stuff. And then when I was doing this stuff, I still wasn't popular. Like I felt I was able to be more myself because I was just fucked up and probably didn't care what people thought as much. So I was able to joke around, but I never felt good about myself afterwards. I felt like a loser because I was hanging out with losers. I wasn't keeping my hair cut. I was just letting it grow out. I'd wear tie-dye shirts. I'd sleep through class. And I had to go to rehab a couple times because of this. My parents were obviously worried about me. I was 16, 17, 18 sometime. And I wasn't taking care of myself. I had no goals, no objectives. I was just getting by. I assumed I knew everything. I assumed it wasn't a big problem. There's no big deal. I'm just smoking some weed, right? Who gives a shit? So they sent me to rehab. I didn't take it very seriously because I didn't think I had a problem. And looking back at this now, had I not got arrested for breaking into a house and getting on probation, I probably would have continued this trend, grew up with the same people, lived in the same small town, done the same bullshit every fucking weekend, really going nowhere because I wasn't going to just quit doing drugs one day. Like, you don't just stop smoking weed if you have no real reason to. At 19, I would just assume like, yeah, I got plenty of time, no big deal. And I look back on some of my friends that I grew up with and they're still doing the same thing. They're still drinking every weekend. They're still smoking weed all the time. They're still doing cocaine and they're in their 40s now. So thank God I did get arrested. I went into the military. I thought that was going to help me, which it did help me quit drugs. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't do any cocaine or any of that stuff. But I still didn't feel worthy of attention. I didn't feel like I could be myself around others. I was still very shy and quiet. So to get over this, I would go drinking at the bars. I would go drinking at my friend's house. It was basically the same shit every week, I guess quite a bit. I would miss out on the PT in the morning because I was hungover and nobody really said anything. I wish they would have. I wish I would have had some more discipline of like keeping me on track. But I just kept doing this because I thought that's how I had to fit in. I thought that's how I was going to get a girlfriend, honestly. Even in the military, my friend was very good with girls. He would be himself. He'd be very talkative. And I was very jealous that all the girls liked him. And I always wondered what was wrong with me. Why did nobody like me? So I would drink more. Like, oh, if I drink more, I'll be more free. They will like me. And this actually did work. This is how I met my ex-wife. We were at a house party. We clicked. You'd see her every couple times because we had this friend group. And then we started dating. So that's really how I envisioned that, like, it was working. I drank and then I finally found a girl that I could talk to, be myself a little bit. But when we got together, I was very needy. I didn't want to lose her. First girl that really, truly liked me. I was able to be myself around her when I wasn't drinking. So I hung on to that very quickly. Within the first maybe month of us dating, I was at her house all the time. We basically would move in together. Like all my free time was spent with her. I kind of forgot all about my friends, which is unfortunate. I mentioned this in another video. My friend was going to get deployed and I skipped his going away party so that I could go hang out with her. So my neediness was still there, but I was married now, or I was with my girl. Once we got married, I didn't really drink at all. There was no need to. I already found my girl. we didn't have a ton of friends. If we ever did go to a party, or if we went to like a Christmas party with my coworkers, then I would drink because I thought that's how I'd have to fit in. It all comes down to me never feeling like I was good enough. Like I always had to do something else for people to like me. I'd have to hurt myself. Like I didn't consider it hurting myself. I was just like, oh, if I get drunk, I will be fun. People will like me. That's how it has to be. So this continued, up until a very long time. But while I was married, we would hang out basically together. There's really no need to drink. Like I didn't really like the taste of alcohol, and I didn't need to impress her because we were already together. So the only time that I would drink was with coworkers or just to go out with friends. And I know I would always overdo it. I never knew how to have just a few. I'd get always very drunk, very happy, dancing, and then I'd feel like shit for a couple days. But once we got divorced, so this is basically, high school, marriage, I really slowed down. I didn't smoke weed. I didn't drink that often. But once we got divorced, it was back to the same pattern. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like I could be myself. I figured she left. She's with somebody else now. If I'm going to find somebody new, it can't be in Wisconsin. I already knew what would happen there. I go to the bars. I do this pattern where I get fucked up. I'd probably find somebody. It'd be the same thing that I met my wife with. Very needy, very low options, scarcity. I would just be happy to take anybody that came along. So I knew I had to get out of Wisconsin. I went to Boston. But the same patterns were still there. I would write in my journal, like, I'm going to go out sober because I knew deep down I wanted to be the kind of guy that was just attractive, good with women, was charismatic, could talk to people. I didn't want to have to rely on alcohol to do that. I knew this very early after the divorce. I wanted to be that guy, but I would always find myself drinking. Hold on, I'm gonna check this camera. It's getting sunny and hot. I want to make sure the camera doesn't die. But even in Boston, I would find ways. I would always talk myself into having to drink. I could get better results if I was drinking. I'd be more fun if I was drinking. I could get that kind of girl if I was drinking. My friends would think I'm more fun if I was drinking. So I'd go out sober a couple times, get some good results. It'd always lead back to alcohol. I still wasn't doing drugs at this point. It was once I got to Las Vegas that I started going out. I started working as a promoter. I'd get access to free tables, and I would always use the table as a way to get girls, because if I got four girls, I could get a free table. It seemed like a good way to get social game, to meet new girls, but it ended up me just drinking and having to watch the table and basically babysit. But then at this point, I started to get more involved in cocaine again because I wanted to be the party guy. I wanted to stay up late. I wanted to stand out in some way. Like my friends were all very attractive. They would get girls. They had game. And I was still that guy who wasn't comfortable being himself, still using drugs, still using alcohol, trying to fit in. And there's nothing sadder than when you're laying in bed after a night at 6 a.m., the sun is coming up, you're high on cocaine, and you're just laying in bed praying to go to sleep. You don't even have a girl with you. The whole reason I would ever even drink or do drugs was because I thought that was the best way to get women in my life. And it rarely ever got girls, especially when I was doing cocaine. Like I never got girls that way. Took this from Vegas and then sobered up during COVID. But then when I went down to Mexico, it was the same kind of thing. I would try to go sober for a little bit, have some nights out, but then I just wasn't getting the results I wanted. So I'd always try to shortcut my anxieties, trying to just feel good about myself, trying to get a result by not really facing my issues. So in Mexico, back to cocaine, doing MDMA, trying to feel like, okay, I'm not going to drink. I'll do MDMA. It's therapeutic. It'll make you happy. And then I would stay up all night. I would still be in my head wondering, am I good enough? I'm trying to have fun. Then I'd still go home alone, and then I'd feel even worse that I did all this stuff and it didn't work. So, um, yeah, that was that was Mexico. When I moved to Minneapolis, I was back to the same thing. I wasn't doing drugs, but I was still smoking weed. I was thinking weed was going to help me get clarity. I felt productive sometimes. I felt like I could think things through. But when I look back, it was just me sitting in my room thinking instead of taking any sort of action, just thinking that, oh yeah, I'll just plan out this shit. Maybe that'll make a difference. And then I would go out drinking because I didn't fit in there. I didn't feel like I could talk to people. They had all grown up together. They knew everybody. And I didn't want to face that anxiety of being the new guy or having to put myself out there. So it's just much easier to continue to drink and do drugs or smoke weed. This finally came to a head in December 2024. I think it was like the last week of the year. I went out, drank in Minneapolis, still didn't get any results. I was drinking and I thought, all right, I used to be fun when I was drinking. Let's try that again. Let's see what happens. Went out, got very drunk, was by myself. Most of my interactions went nowhere because I was too drunk. I didn't feel very social. I was still in my head. And then I woke up sick the next day. And that's kind of when I decided that I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm just going to face this shit. I don't like the taste of alcohol. I don't like being drunk. I don't like feeling like shit the next couple days. It was not even working. It wasn't getting me the results I wanted. The whole reason I ever went out drinking was because I thought that's what would make me more social, might get me the women I wanted in my life. So for basically until I was 41, I guess, I'd always had this thought, not always, but I had this thought that I had to do drugs to be popular or to get girls. Then when I was in Boston, I knew I could become the guy that could do this without alcohol, but I never made that decision. I would do it a couple times and then I'd revert back. But it was December 2024 where I really decided that I'm not going out to get fucked up anymore. I'm not going out to do drugs. I'm going to figure this shit out. I'm either going to be sober and get no results, or I'm just going to stay home. Like, I'm not doing drugs to get results again. Either the girls are going to like me or they're not. I'm going to either face this anxiety and learn this skill set or I'm not. And that's really when things started to change for me. That's when I started to do the one approach a day in January. Took me a couple weeks to get going before I could even ask somebody's name. I was only doing one approach a day. But I was feeling better. At least I was doing stuff without having to rely on alcohol. That's how I met the girl I was seeing from Poland for many months. We had a good relationship. I ended up moving to Mexico. She ended up going back to Europe. But it was great that I was able to meet somebody that was a fit for my life without me having to go and get drunk to do it. I didn't drink at all while we were together. We would go on dates. She'd have a cocktail. I wouldn't have anything. I realized I didn't need to go out and drink to have successful dates either. And so I've kept that up throughout the year. I'm going out now. I don't have drinks on dates. They can have a drink if they want, but it's not preventing me from meeting good people, having good experiences, still having a fun time, still being myself, still being social, still being positive and influential or whatever. So that's why it's so important for me now to do this 10 approach challenge, because I'm doing it completely sober. I'm showing myself I don't need alcohol. I don't need drugs to be wanted, to be liked. I'm facing these anxieties of going to talk to people. I don't need to be fucked up to go and feel like I fit in. I'm just going to face the anxiety. I'm going to feel what I feel. If I feel like I don't fit in, I will deal with it. I will either avoid those situations or I will find ways to improve and adjust to it. But that's really why it's so important for me to do the approaches, because it's putting myself in that situation, because I still want to meet attractive women. I still want to have a good dating life. I still want to be social and charismatic with people, but I don't want to have to do it at the expense of my health. I don't want to have to do it at the shame and stuff. I felt a lot of shame having to go out and drink and do drugs. Like, I don't like admitting that I'd smoked meth before, or that I've done a bunch of ecstasy and acid and all this stuff. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I'm worried about being judged for it. It's stuff that I did when I was a kid. It's just something that I've just always had that need to be accepted. And it was easier for me to run away from that by drugs and alcohol, just escape, than never actually face it. I wouldn't say that I'm sober by any means. Like, I I just don't want to do drugs and alcohol. It's not that I'm quitting or anything like that. I don't want to, I don't want them in my life. I don't want to feel like shit the next day. I want to get this area of my life handled the way that I'm doing it now, completely sober, putting myself on the line with rejections, building myself up as a man, improving every interaction, just getting better every day. I don't want to have to, I just don't want to drink or do drugs. If I decide I want to drink on a date and I have a cocktail, that's fine. But I've realized I don't even need alcohol on a date. I used to think that I would have to get a drink on a date if I asked a girl out just so she's not uncomfortable. But then I'm doing something for somebody else that I don't want to do. I don't want to drink. If you want to drink, that's fine. But the nice guy in me would always be like, well, I invited her out for wine. I should have wine. If I don't have wine, then we're not going to have a good night. It won't lead to sex and all that stuff. But over the last year, I've proved that I can have great sexual experiences. I can meet great people. I can have great dates, and I don't need alcohol to do it. So that's where I am right now. I know I have a lot of friends that still will drink every weekend with the same people that they grew up with. They'll do cocaine. One of my friends, I remember, I came and visited him. He did some cocaine that night. Him and his friend were talking all night. I went back a year later, same situation, did some more cocaine. They had some more cocaine, and they were still talking about the same stuff a year later. I get that trap. I would have been in that same trap if I had not gotten arrested and gone into the Air Force. The Air Force is what got me out of my hometown. It helped me meet my wife, which did keep me sober a lot for 12 years. If I didn't meet my wife and I got out of the military, I probably would have started doing cocaine and drinking because I thought that would have been my best option to meet somebody. I would never have addressed the fact that I could learn social skills or I could learn to go talk to people on the street completely sober and just see what happens. So I guess that's my story with drugs and alcohol, why this 10 approach challenge is so important to me. Obviously, I do want a great dating life. This is how I'm going to meet very gorgeous women. I'm not going to find them on dating apps. They're not just going to come up to talk to me. If I don't work on this, I'm not going to be able to talk to them and just being myself. People appreciate authenticity. And when you grow up needing validation and wanting to be liked by people, you're trying to say and do things to get them to like you. So you're not being authentic. So by putting myself out there and just going up and see what happens, it is me being authentic. I am just saying, hey, I thought you looked nice. I want to see what happens. And the more that I do it, the more comfortable I'll be with myself, the more authentic I'll become, and I'll be able to express myself without needing validation from somebody or trying to do things to get them to like me. So that's why I'm continuing to do this. It's day 24. I did one approach today already. I talked to the girl at the coffee shop. She's from Italy. She was giving me some very strong eye contact and I was always very happy. Turns out she does have a boyfriend, but I did flirt with her. I will see her again, but we got one approach done. I am gonna finish this walk. I will update you guys on the rest of these approaches. This is probably a long video. I probably have even more stories about drugs and alcohol that I could go over. But the whole premise is basically that I was always doing it to get validation because I thought it was my best option to get women. I think a lot of guys suffer with this, thinking that they have to go to the bars. You get drunk. One day you'll just meet a girl that's the right fit for you. And then when that does happen, you settle with her because you don't have any other options. And you're just happy that somebody's in your life. And then you're with somebody who has red flags or somebody you get along with, but maybe it's not the best relationship, but what else are you going to do? So I don't want to deal with that. I want to meet the right person for me. I want to do it sober. So that's where I'm at now. All right, we're going to walk back. I will update you on the 10 approach challenge, day 24. Let's go. All right, we are out here now to do the 10 approach challenge. I just did one outside my building. That's 2 so far today. I have 8 more to go. It is 5:45. I want to get this shit done quick because I got a date set up from Bumble. Matched with her today. Messaging very quickly. I can post screenshots at the end of this video if you want to see how that went. She mentioned in her bio she doesn't want to do pen pals. She just wants to basically meet up. So you don't have to drag that stuff out. Just go for the close right away. I'll put those screenshots up. But yeah, you can schedule that date. We're going to get these 8 done. I'll update you as I go. Peace. All right, I am done with 5 approaches. The Bumble girl flaked. That's the thing with online dating, is they always flake, which is why I want to improve my communications and my skill set just by going up and talking to people. But did 5. The last girl I talked to, about to turn 20, from Austria, very fun, bubbly. She was on her way to meet her friends. She's an au pair, so she doesn't know anybody. They're going to all go out, get together. I don't want to go hang out with her and her friends, so I will message her later, see what happens. Yeah, very fun, very personable. Gonna do the 5 more. There's another girl I matched with on Bumble who might want to meet up. She said she's with a friend, so me and George might try to do a double date. I will keep you posted on that. But so far, things are going well. Feeling positive, feeling good. It's Friday night. Everything's good. I'm going to build a skill set, or I'm going to go home early, or I'm going to go on a date. I'm going to do something. Going to be productive. Hope you guys are doing great. See you soon. All right, we're still out here. We've done 8 sets. It's not going the best. Most girls are just walking. They're not very receptive. I did try to stop a 2 set, which I have not been doing lately. They just walked past me. They seemed very friendly, though. They smiled and said hi, and then kept walking, talking to each other. Last girl I just opened was engaged. She showed me right away. A couple of girls were just in a hurry and didn't want to talk. Putting in the work. We'll see what happens. Sometimes you just get on the right track and you find the right person. That Austrian girl was super cute, may have been down to go on an adventure, but she was with her friends, so nothing you can do. I'm going to do 2 more. We'll see what happens. I might try to meet up with this girl from Bumble, but she might flake again too. All part of the adventure. We'll see what happens. Hope you guys are having a good Friday night, taking some action, doing something cool. Post in the comments what you've been doing, what your plans are to do something. I don't know. We'll see you later. Peace. All right, back in the apartment, did my 10 approaches, then went to dinner with George. Pretty productive day. Had one good interaction with the Austrian chick, got her number, haven't heard back yet. Had a good interaction with a Russian flight attendant. She was married, but still good to just give people good interactions, practice socializing. So overall, super solid. Gonna edit this video, gonna go into the sauna, and then probably chill for the night and watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I get up early again tomorrow and do it all over. See you later.
I'm all alone in this hotel room. The fear inside of me is uncontrollable. I hear the calls, see the sun, the sky is blue, and all I can think about is being with you. Guess I'm all alone again. So, do you think you know the way I feel? And do you think you feel the way I do? Cause I'm all alone, I'm a friends at home, and soon I'll be there, wishing I was there. Do you think you know the way I feel? And do you think you feel the way I do? Cause I'm all alone, I'm a friends at home, and soon I'll be there, wishing I was here. Never once did I seem to care if I didn't have anybody there. But now I do, and I don't know what to say. I feel lost in every possible way. Guess I'm all alone again. So, do you think you know the way I feel? And do you think you feel the way I do? Cause I'm all alone, I'm a friends at home, and soon I'll be there, wishing I was there. Do you think you know?